Hey, I'm Mike Donovan. I'm the co-founder of NicheTwins.com, and I started blogging in early 2020. The site that I started then, between the time that I owned it and the eventual sale of that site in March of last year in 2023, did well over seven figures in profit. And I attribute a ton of the success of that first site to my ability to do great keyword research. And the tool that I use to do keyword research is called Keysearch. That's keysearch.co. And that's the tool we're looking at here today. And I want to show you one of the key features of Keysearch that I use on my new site that I started with my wife. It's a travel site. It's called staynewengland.com. If you go at the top, I'm at Keysearch. And if I go to competitive analysis and then I go to site audit, this is a way to do a quick snapshot of your website and see what, if any, mostly technical issues exist. And the tool will prioritize those for you from high priority to medium to low. In most cases, I would say first, if you see high priority, you'll see we'll go through the issues that the site audit has found for my site, Stay New England. I would say don't panic. A lot of these things are, while they are things that you should fix, I wouldn't panic about them. It's good to be aware of them and eventually make changes that are necessary. But if you come in here, so I've already come in here and I've already run the audit on my site. If you come in here for the first time, you'll type in your domain at the top here and you'll click start. If you have a big site, you can kind of limit how many pages it crawls. I have a small site. I think it found 44 total pages, which is really quite small. And so you can tell it how many pages you want it to crawl, then click start. Depending on how big your site is, my site took a couple minutes for the audit to complete. And it's basically crawled my entire site and then told me, okay, on an overall optimization score, my site's doing pretty good, 94 out of 100. You can see the site issues. There's a total of 172 issues. Sounds, again, overwhelming. A lot of these things that we'll go through are things that you could decide not to do anything about, and that may be perfectly fine, but you should at least be aware of them. And so it breaks this audit up into an overall high level, site level view of technical potential issues. And so things like, do you have HTTPS and an SSL certificate enabled on your site? These are security things. You'll see on the right, a green check means you're all set. If you see a number there, it'll very clearly tell you is it a high priority, low priority, or medium priority issue. But you'll see at a site level, I have my site map, I have my robot.txt file. So I'm all set from a site level. From a links level, it'll tell you if you have any broken pages or broken links, which is great because this stuff is hard to keep track of, especially as your site grows. And so it'll tell you a handful of things regarding links there that you may want to go back and update or change, especially if you're even linking out to sites that maybe they've deleted pages over time. You want to make sure you don't have a ton of broken links. That is a negative signal to Google over time. Okay, so now we'll see the first issues that appear. This is around meta descriptions and tags on my site. You'll see that it's telling me I have missing meta descriptions. So if I click on that, it's going to show me the pages in which I do not currently have a meta description identified. And really, I should have a meta description identified for these things. Similarly, it'll tell me pages that I don't currently have an H1 tag. This may or may not be an issue. So for example, my contact us page, I probably should have an H1 tag, to be honest with you. My about pages, these are a lot of my high level pages. Pretty simple to go in there and to fix. And when Google's crawling your website, it's really looking for these things to try to understand your content. And so these are things that I should fix over time. There's a title tag section. So this will tell you if there's any duplicate titles. Obviously, you don't want two pages that are conflicting or directly competing with one another. It'll tell you if your titles are too long. So when you write a title, when it shows up in Google search, you don't want it to get cut off. And so this is telling me my titles are quite long. I actually append my domain, the name of my website at the end, staynewengland.com, or Stay New England rather. And so that's adding 3 words. So in many of these cases, these are probably okay, but it's something to check and keep in mind. It'll also tell you if it thinks your titles are too short as well. And these pages I'm not overly worried about. A lot of these are, the landing page for a given state, for example, for Maine, or my privacy page. There is one that I might want to add some more detail. I probably should actually add some more detail around the best Block Island bars. That's very short. That's probably worth adding some more length. It'll also take a look at your content. One of the most useful ones, of course, is there duplicate content? So actually, it did find duplicate content. I looked at this before I recorded this video, and I actually had originally set up my structure of my site using tags. I've since removed those tags, and I went to actual just hard pages. And so I actually need to delete this page and probably redirect it to the new one. And so that's a good find. The site audit tool on Keysearch identified. If there are pages that have large download sizes or small, or if you don't have a favicon on your site, which is that little icon on the top of when you click a tab that you can see your site branding. It'll tell you if there are pages missing image alt tags. And so I have a handful of pages here that are missing alt tags. So I could go in here and look at these images and see, do I want to add an alt tag to them or not? Pages with low character count. So just pages that are probably pretty thin. You really don't want a ton of thin pages on your site. I happen to have quite a bit right now because a lot of my I haven't built out the content to a lot of my site to the states within New England. And so this is clearly something I need to work on and get content on there so these pages aren't so thin in the future. And so that's the overall site audit tool. I think it's really worth just plugging your domain in here, getting a sense of, are there any technical issues that you should be addressing now or maybe later, and just stay on top of these things. There's a handful of things you really want to make sure, like making sure your site is secure, which with HTTPS, making sure that links aren't broken, so on and so forth. And so staying on top of this, Keysearch makes it really easy to do. I recommend you check it maybe once a quarter or so instead of doing this manually, which a lot of folks do like to do it manually. That's, for me, that's just too much effort. Let Keysearch do the work for you. I find this tool really useful. Hope you will too, and talk soon.